What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and you are watching the Rule of Three here on Sundays, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always, on Khaos Central, and of course on my channel, The Real Review 3000. I don't know which one you're watching, but thank you for watching. So, guys, good to see you guys again.
Definitely.
You guys had a great week there with Equilibrium. Actually, this past week has actually been pretty big for a lot of people. Robert Storms had his huge celebration stream. We had a pretty good showing the last week on the Khaos chat shows. And so this is going on. I think the three of us have been going now for what, over a month now, hasn't it been?
I think it's the third show, if I'm not mistaken. Third or fourth.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, things are going really good. I want to again say thank you to everybody out there who's watching, and let's do a real quick run around and tell everybody about yourselves and all of that. Danny, go ahead and start.
I am Danny. You can find me on YouTube on the comment chat. That is my main channel. I have several shows with my boy down here below, Nzo. We have one here at 5 in a couple hours, Equilibrium. Please catch it if you can. We had one yesterday, Square One. Got heated at the end. Nzo and Min Diesel was talking about Kobe and all that kind of stuff, and it was kind of entertaining. I was kind of sit back and laugh. Nzo has a new show, OOC, Off Our Chest, which premiered last night. I was able to jump in and out of that while I was working. So you catch it as a very serious and deep show. I'll let him tell you more about it. Tomorrow night, please catch us on the Chaotic Conversation. It's going to be a special edition. Never done this before. It's going to be music oriented. Top 5 Michael Jackson songs, top 5 Prince songs. I know my number one Michael Jackson, but Prince is going to be a horse of a different color. So chance, please catch that show tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, I do want to commend you guys with Equilibrium and Square One. Great concepts. I really like that. Good stuff all the time. I appreciate you guys for the things you come up with. Really do.
Appreciate it.
Anzo, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself. Please don't destroy your computer, because I know you're not happy about that, guys. Let me say this real quick, Anzo. So we know Anzo's kind of got the cloudy looking video. StreamYard is a fickle little bitch, I guess I could say. So he's been trying to work this out all day, but we're glad that you're here, and we're glad that it's working to the point that you're able to be on. So yeah, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself and where they can find you.
What's up, people? You can find me at my channel, which is Biggaford Entertainment. Doing a couple of shows. So right now it's the Rule of Three with Chris and Danny. Later on we'll have Equilibrium with Terrence and John. Tomorrow night is going to be, like Danny said, his show. Best Prince songs, best Michael Jackson songs. Unlike him, I know my favorite Prince song. I have yet to pick my favorite Michael Jackson song. I mean, I'm going to have to go through his catalog, his library, whatever you want to call it tonight, and decide which one is number one. I have an idea which it is, but we'll see. Do Square One on Saturdays. Me, Mr. Danny Graham, Mendizel, sports talk. And then me and Mendizel also started a show called Off Our Chest, where we just talk about things to get it off our chests. Last night's episode was about me living with the depression that I was under for 5 years. So it was a great show. Check it out. Next week is going to be more him than me, where he's going to talk about bullying and I guess how he used to be a bully. And if you heard the last of the show, yeah, he used to be kind of a bully. So check that out. Hopefully that stuff will help out people that think they're alone, stuff like that, So that's all. And yes, the camera is annoying me, if you guys can tell. I'm probably going to turn it off and just have my avatar up there, because it's really pissing me off.
It happens. Yeah, I know. I really do understand that. But guys, just so you know, that's not on his end. That's probably somewhere in the interwebs. It does that a lot. Okay, so are we guys ready? Are you ready to bring this wheel in here?
Yes, we are.
Let's bring the wheel. Oh, wait. Let's do this right. Let's do this right. The wheel. Oh, God, it didn't work. Oh, yeah, because it's the wrong one. Ah, there we go. The wheel of topics. Sorry.
Well, you wow.
Horrible. I don't even know my own board now, it seems. Okay, anyways. Let's go. Guys, this is real simple. This is how we do it. 3 topics are going to be picked by the wheel of topics. Each of us get 3 minutes to talk about it. 3 minutes. Then after that, to talk in the group, we either hash out our differences, call each other names, or sometimes totally agree, which is really not when it's fun. No, I'm just kidding. But we're going to go ahead and spin the wheel right now. Get our first topic. Who would like to go first before we even get the topic? Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. And the first question is today: if time travel were possible, where would you go and what would you do?
You already had this before.
Well, we had this on the Weekly Rumble.
Okay.
And so I hybrided it over to here. So we're going to remove that from the wheel, guys. I'm going to put in the chat the question. Here you guys go. All right. So bring up the timer. 3 minutes is, why I moved it over here, I have no clue. 3 minutes is on the board, and your time, Danny, starts now.
If I could go in time, it would probably be, I want to go into the future. I want to see like Star Trek world, that kind of world, how it would be, where there's no money, there's no apparently there's very little sickness, very little crime and stuff. Everything's done in an orderly fashion. You get to travel the galaxy and see different species, different planets, experience that. I've always was intrigued with the Star Trek world. To me, that just seems like it'd be something real cool. You have to, as long as you specialize in whatever particular job you want to do, then it seemed like you got to. To me, based on the show I saw, everybody live well as long as you contribute to the society. So, but I think I would definitely be drawn to being a part of Starfleet. Get on the starships and just travel, see different things, see new worlds and stuff that we could only dream about and imagine. That appeals to me. Another place I wouldn't mind going, and it's more Star. I wouldn't mind being like in the Star Wars world, but I want to be more like a Sith. I'm a Jedi, good tootie, but the Sith seem to just be free. They will survive, live on their own volition. The rules won't apply to them. I'm not saying I would necessarily be evil, but I think I would do what I want to do. I would definitely be an anti-hero. I like that characterization. Being a Billy Badass, trying to help the people that actually need it, but the ones that didn't and need their ass kicked, I could do it. So those 2 worlds I would definitely like to see. I would want to go into the Star Trek world and the Star Wars world, probably more towards the Star Wars world. Learn the powers and abilities of the Jedi, not necessarily live under their creed, but kind of do my own thing and be like the anti-hero, I guess, the Star Wars world. So that's what I would want to do if I had the time travel and could do all that stuff.
All right.
Or did that make sense? That the time travel mean like different fantasies or just real life stuff?
Well, I was gonna say that. I'm like, you're talking about going to Star Wars and Star Trek universe. That's not
you would
really
like to go forward. You would like to go forward in time to when Star Trek's supposed to take place.
Yeah.
And see what it's like.
If it does, yes.
You want to see
something like that.
Star Wars more than fantasy, so I'll disqualify myself from that. But Star Trek, if that's how it's going to look 100 years from now, whatever, I want to see that. I want to live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Onzo, it's 3 minutes on the board. Your time starts now.
Yeah, I will definitely tell you that this question will probably not take up my 3 minutes. I do apologize for that because personally, I wouldn't want to go into the future. I'd actually want to go back in time. I'd go back in time and I would change some of the things I did, some of the regrets in my life. Like, I've been through a lot, but I've only have like really two real regrets in my life. And those are two regrets that I would change. I would also buy lotto tickets. I would research before I go back in time. I would research all the winning lotto numbers for like 5 years.
But you see, there's an idea.
Right? And I would just go back in time, and every week I would play the lotto. I play Lotto Quebec. There was one lotto that I remember was like $80 million. You know, we've had multiple $50 million lotteries. So yeah, I mean, one of them would be good, but if I could go back and win them all, I mean, why wouldn't I do that, right? There's so many lotteries that go unclaimed, you know, no one wins it. No, so I'm like, hey, if no one wins it, then I'll go back in time and I'll win it, right? Because if I go back in time, I can't change what people have done. So let's say I pick a lottery number and someone has already won it, then, or I'd pick the number, we split it half and half. I would just leave them with the money. So I would go and look at all the weeks that nobody won, and I would just pick the winning numbers for those weeks. And I'd come back to, I'd actually want to come back to where I was before I left so that I could see how everything evolved and how everything changed in my life for that reason, you know? The only thing that scares me is like when you watch those movies and you go back in time and you change shit in your life, either worse things happen or it just changes it to a way where you, like, you know, you're not happy with it. So that situation is kind of a hard situation for me. But the one thing for sure is I would play that lottery 100%. So that's what I would do.
Cool. All right. I don't disagree with that. The thing is, like, we had a $1 billion lottery here a year or two ago, and yeah, I mean, I'd go back to just the drawing before somebody hit it and hit it. But I always say the farther back you go to change things, what does that change right now
in the future, right?
Yeah, there's lots of stories about that, where you go back and you change something and then you go back and it's not the way you thought it was, and but yeah, no, not my question to answer like that. So that's very good. That's great. 30 minutes on the board for me. Sure. Be honest. Yeah, I would definitely go back and win the lottery. Why not? I mean, if you had that power, trying to play I'm a humble person or I'm going to use it for the benefit of man. No, you know what? Be honest. Even if it's just once that you go back to get that lottery, why not? You either have come up with the ability to do something nobody else has done, or two, you've been gifted it. The key is to always understand that there's a lot of responsibility with going forward with that. So, I would definitely do that. I don't know. I think that if you want a $30-40 million lottery,
y'all got to find the ones that nobody claimed.
Yeah,
if you go back a week before, then you're gonna mess up the person.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said I would go. Like I could go online now and research like years back what people won the lotto, right? And like I said, I wouldn't want to mess up anybody that won it, so I would just pick it on the days I know I won it.
Yeah. But sure, I'd do that. But I don't know. I go forward. There's a lot. You know what? Maybe back to Vegas, actually, during the Rat Pack and gangster area. I mean, I'm a big Rat Pack fan. I think hanging out in Vegas around when Vegas was really coming up and becoming, what Vegas was. Vegas is different now, but I don't know. Just so I go back and I get my money, and then I find a way to take that money with me back then. Of course, I wouldn't need nearly as much. I could leave it in the bank here and take what I need and go literally just hang out, walk the strip, go to the shows, hobnob. If I had enough money, I could make it seem like I'm somebody big and hobnob with people that I've always wanted to meet and stuff, So I guess I would do that. Just kind of hang out and check it out. I don't think I'd go. I would be very careful to go out of my way. I wouldn't want pictures taken or anything that would tie me back to today. But yeah, I think I would do that. Yeah. So that's what I would do. I go back to the 50s, 60s, even. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to go back and just see all the gangster stuff kind of firsthand without being close enough to get my ass shot. So that's what I would do. So 3 minutes on the board. Let's talk about.
I'm hoping it's like a machine we can control, right? This time machine.
What was that?
This time machine is something that we can control, right?
Yeah.
A device we can.
Yeah. Think of the DeLorean almost.
I would go back. I would want to see all the biblical miracles, like the parting of the Red Sea, Noah's Ark.
Interesting. So if let's say you wanted to go see Jesus walk on water or something like that,
yeah,
do you think he would know?
Oh, I know he would know.
Okay, so now let's go with that dilemma. Would Jesus, and I don't want to get all religious or philosophical, would he look at you and say, did you not trust enough that these things happened?
I don't know.
You see, you got to get. No, that's an interesting thing, though. I mean, yeah, there's so many things out there.
I would just love to go see the miracles. Now, I believe they happen. That will not. But it's one thing to believe something; it's another thing to see it.
No, I understand exactly.
I definitely believe the Lord exists.
I
definitely believe there's a heaven and hell. I don't want to see hell. I want to see heaven. So I definitely believe it exists. But
yeah,
I'm not seeing it firsthand.
Nzo, what would you say about it? What implications would you think? If you're there, I don't know. You might have had to run. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, give me a second.
No, you're good. Okay, I would just say though that the implications, and again, I love Back to the Future because it always states, you know what, if you're going to do this, this is what it could do. I mean, and even the little bits that changed in the Back to the Future trilogy as it went along, those little things are ripples, and those ripples could be bigger someplace else. Again, we don't know. It's a butterfly effect, just because butterfly flaps its wings in Central Park doesn't mean it rains in Tokyo. Is that what caused the rain? We don't know. So if you go, I mean, it will be crazy here. Let's say you're one of those people that wants to go see the dinosaurs. What if you step on a plant or an insect or something gets killed while you're there, accidentally, purely unknown to you, but because you're there, something gets wiped out, and that was something that was the catalyst for maybe humans becoming humans. I mean, the sheer thought process behind what time travel is crazy. So, well, that's 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and spin on the wheel for the second topic.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Ancient One, thank you for being here. Kansas Geek Man, thank you for being here. United Thrive, thank you for being here. Everybody, thank you. Do me a favor if you can. If you follow me on Twitter, I have a tweet right now pinned on my Twitter that you can share out there with everybody. Have them jump in here and join us. Oh, why did that come up again? I thought I got rid of that. Let's do it again because it came up with the exact same. This wheel's being strange today. All right, second topic. Do you want to see a Watchmen season 2? Do you want to see a Watchmen season 2? Let's cut this out. And I'm going to put this in the chat. And Nzo, would you like to go first on this one?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I'm going to go get the 3 minutes. Why is it jumping over here? That's crazy. Okay, 3 minutes on the board. Your time starts now.
Question is, do you want to see a Watchmen season 2? I absolutely 100 positively want to see a Watchmen season 2. I loved it. I wasn't a fan of the Watchmen movie at all. I didn't like it. I thought it was boring, to be honest with you. That was the first time I seen it. Then after watching the series, I went back to watch it again because I'm like, you know what? Let me give this movie another chance because I seen it a long time ago, and it was still boring to me. It wasn't as bad as the first time, but I still didn't like it. But personally, I loved the season one. It got into some real issues. You know, it opens up with a town, a black town that was people were massacred. All the black people were massacred. It was true events that happened, and just everything that they've done with it, I liked. I know a lot of people complain that it doesn't follow the comic or, you know, what they did with certain characters. They can't believe that they did that, and since I wasn't a fan of the comics, I don't really have any fight in that argument. So I'm just like, what I've seen, I like. I thought it was well done. The actress, Regina King, I believe it is, or Regina Hall, one of the two, Regina King.
Regina King.
It's King, right? Yeah. She
Yep.
did an amazing job. Amazing job. Absolutely. It was entertaining from episode one all the way up until the end. What they did at the end, I wasn't too pleased with what they did at the end, so I won't spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it. But man, just the series alone, episode after episode, you know, was good. We got to see the original Watchmen, the original superhero that was one of the bases why everything got started. You know, um, I just thought it was well done. I definitely want to see season two. I don't know where they're gonna go from there because, like I said, if you watch the final episode, the way it ends, it's like, okay, this is interesting. You know, it was kind of an SJW moment, you know, but at the same time, it wasn't pushed in your face constantly through the whole series, so I didn't really let that bother me at all. But the story that they put in place was absolutely amazing. I heard they don't want to do the director that did the first one doesn't want to do a second season.
No, he
And
doesn't.
to be honest, yeah, to be honest with you, I wanted him to come back and do it. I don't want it to be done by anyone else. But if he does come back and do it, and he says, you know what, I still have more story to tell, and I can tell this different type of story, I'll absolutely 100% be down for it. I'll watch it just like I watched the first season. So yeah, give me more Watchmen, please.
All right. Danny, you got 3 minutes on the board, and your 3 minutes start right now.
It's probably gonna take me a minute to say what I gotta say.
Uh-oh.
I will first go ahead and say that Anzo, since day one, he started following me on my channel, asked me to go watch it, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it." I never watched it, mainly because the first one, I agree with him 1,000%, was boring. I did not like it. It was not my cup of tea. When I hear that it's was such an awesome comic book and this kind of stuff, but I just didn't care for it. Other than the character Rorschach, I think his name was whatever. Um, he was the only character that I like, and I hear
Rorschach. Mm-hmm.
Rorschach. I think
Rorschach, yeah.
yeah, and I think they're doing some kind of Rorschach standalone movie. What I heard, or talkings or rumbles or something about it. I wouldn't mind seeing that. He was the only character that I was really truly interested in. Um, I didn't watch the show, so I can't intelligently speak on it. But based on my feelings about the movie, there's nothing that I want to see. I trust Anzo's judgment taste. Um, well, let me change that. Sometimes I trust his taste. He like Blank Man, other shit that I wouldn't watch again if I had to. But on this particular movie, I trust his taste, and he said to watch it. So eventually, I know I'll probably watch it. But right now, in this particular time, um, I'm not interested in seeing a second season because I haven't watched the first. But if in fact I do watch it, I'll probably feel probably the same way he felt. But I'm not a fan of Watchmen movie, and that probably kind of soured the milk a little bit for me, so to speak, for watching the TV show.
Okay. Well, um, I will put 3 minutes up on the board for me. Um, yeah, see, so I liked the film for what it was. I know a lot of people are like, well, it didn't really follow the comic book. Some people say it did really well. It's what, whatever. I just liked the film. And yeah, it's not necessarily the best comic book film ever made or anything like that, but I don't know. Visually, I liked it, and yeah, it wasn't a bad story, I didn't think. But I haven't seen the series either. I've heard a lot of mixed messages. Anzo, though, saying that he liked it gives me a little bit of hope because, well, I mean, I like a lot of the same stuff he likes. But I have read that the original director of season 1 does not want to move forward, doesn't have any plans to move forward. But that's HBO Max, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I know HBO Max has, I think they greenlit it for a second season. It's just a matter of time because they're looking for somebody to run it. So then you have an issue with, are we going to kind of, and since I haven't seen the ending and you don't need to tell me the ending, if they cap the ending to where we can kind of just jump off of what happened and into a whole new storyline, then it'll work okay, I think. The problem is when you have to continue a storyline that you no longer have the visionary who came up with the original storyline. That's where the problem will come up with. And I think that as long as they think about that carefully, that it could be a success. I mean, I didn't hear, it was just absolute trash or horrible. So I just heard there were some questionable things, the politics, the agendas, and some stuff like that were thrown into it. But it's one of several groups of shows that I have to find time at some point to actually catch up and kind of check in on. So I plan on watching that, and as long as it's a halfway decent series, then I will probably give it another chance. I'll equate it to The Mandalorian. As long as it's got something that I find appealing, it doesn't have to be perfect. So, yeah. And I would say, Anzo, the way you talked about it is that it's not necessarily perfect, but it's definitely not trash.
To me, it wasn't trash at all. I mean, a lot of people say it was, and I think the reason why they do is because it's not the comic book. You know what I mean? It goes on a totally different direction than what people think it would have went from after the comic book. Mm-hmm. But man, they had the bad guy Ozymandias. He's in it. He wasn't really the bad guy, but they show what happened to him and where he was, and I just thought it was well done. And because I wasn't a big fan of the movie, and I never read the comic, I was never going in there with this is not what should happen. This is not how he is, and this is not that. I just went in there as a series, and it touches on a lot of topics that are relevant.
You didn't hit the clock.
Topics that are relevant. No, he didn't hit the clock.
What? Oh no, that was the end of the 3 minutes. We were still talking. I was letting him finish. We're not so much on an absolute time crunch on this. The 3 minutes is there for just to.
I thought that was still your 3 minutes, to be honest with you.
Was it? Maybe it was. Let's talk. Yeah, keep on talking. Go ahead. Keep on talking. So yeah, okay, you're absolutely right. See, I no. So, Danny, you haven't seen it, and you weren't a fan of the movie.
No, I just went on. You, Anzo, said that the creator wasn't interested in doing a segment. I was just reading some articles, and it's saying that HBO said they're not interested unless he was to come back. So
okay.
if he changes his mind, we're not going to see a season 2, which leads me to believe if the creator doesn't want to finish his creation, then maybe he thinks his creation is crap. So I mean, I don't know.
No. He had it in his mind that it was only supposed to be one season. HBO Max was the one that wanted him to do another season because it did really well. You know what I mean? There were the people that didn't like it, but he had it in his mind straight up. only a one season. That's why he ended it the way he did. You know what I mean? But HBO Max wants him to do another season, and he's not interested. So
yeah, you see, I think that's kind of a crappy thing of whenever you start something, just doing one season, is that really enough time to give you? I mean, I guess there's a mini series idea, and if that's what he thought he was doing, then he should have called it the mini series, season 1. Because if I remember right, it was even titled Watchmen season 1. Whenever you do that, if you're not willing to go further,
at least people to assume there's going to be more than one season when you do that.
Yeah, but, and that's the thing. It's like,
especially if it was received well, then I would keep continuing. It seems a normal thing. And if it had bad reviews and people was like, "What the hell is this?" then that's one thing. But if it had good reviews, even mixed reviews, still if the positive reviews are more than the negative reviews, I think I still would keep going with it if I were in charge. But
yeah, and I agree with that. But some people don't want to be stuck on the same project over and over again, you know? And I think he just had this one little story to tell, and he told it and didn't want to move on with it. I'm not sure if there was any studio interference as well. I've never heard anything about that, but it could be possible. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to do it, and they're not saying anything. But from what I read, it was a one and done season.
And that's fine. It's just, you know, then the I think HBO Max should have said, okay, well then we need to be looking for somebody else that's going to continue this, which they're not interested in it. Then again, it's like, why do we agree to this? Just the one thing. So the rating, and again, I don't put much into, you know, IMDb or a few others, but IMDb has it as an 8.1, which is really good actually. So again, I don't know. I always like the concept of it being like this. It's like Earth. It's like the real world. It's not the real world. It's a different universe, like a parallel universe to what's going on here in the world. And I always liked that. And I liked the dark and grittiness of it. I don't know if this followed through with that. And again, I never really paid much attention to the comics. I just liked the movie. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, guys, we're going to go. We got one more topic we're going to spin for, and then we'll just kind of shoot the breeze about all of it like we normally do until we reach our time. Uh-oh. The question is, in Doctor Strange 2, do you think Mordo will team up with Dormammu and go after Doctor Strange? Do you think that they'll team up and go after Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Who wants to take this first?
I can go.
Danny?
All right.
Okay.
I go.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Who said they were going to go first?
Danny did.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. Okay. So let's get the... Oh, man, I don't know what it is about this popping over there all the time. But okay, 3 minutes on the board. Go ahead.
Now that I look at it, Mordo must be had evil in him from the start, because what the Ancient One did wasn't that egregious that he's just gonna just like say, "Oh my God, I can't believe this, that, da da da," and then start doing evil stuff. Because until about maybe 2 months ago, I never saw the after scene credit. Someone said it on one of these streams. I said, "There was after scene credit." And he went to the cops, or whatever that guy was that was able to harness his magic to make himself walk, and took his magic. And now, like, and if you watch the Doctor Strange animation that Marvel did, Mordo was good at first, and then he was bad because the Ancient One picked Strange to be the Sorcerer Supreme. So that kind of pushed him over the edge. So I guess the fact that he didn't become the Sorcerer Supreme, coupled with the fact that the Ancient One lied to him about stealing the dark magic from Dormammu to still young, was enough to push him over. But that alone, my opinion, is not enough to just totally disregard their teachings and beliefs that he's been doing for years there at the temple. But I definitely think he's going to reach out to Dormammu, whatever, and Uh, Maybe because the Dormammu made the pact with Doctor Strange, I guess the loophole is going to be, well, he didn't make that pact with me, so I'm going to use your magic and I'm going to go against him. And then once I defeat him, then you can come into the reality. I guess that's what he's going to do because if it's my understanding, once these deities give their word, it's something that's kind of binding. And Doctor Strange pretty much made Dormammu give his word that um, if he leave Earth alone, um, let him get that time loop that he had him in. So how they're going to break that, I guess that's going to be the loophole. Mordu working with him. I definitely think we're going to see um, maybe not this Doctor Strange 2, but I definitely think somewhere in the future, if it's a Doctor Strange 3, Mordo and Dormammu are definitely going to try and team up to take down Doctor Strange. I don't think they're going to be strong enough to do it, but also just a fact maybe you didn't pick up on. In a lot of our streams, we talk about race swapping and gender bending. Well, Mordo in the comic books is white or Asian or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in this movie, he's black, and he pulled it off. I have no problem with the way he portrayed Mordo. So just to kind of quell that argument, as long as the actor is good, as long as the story is good, I don't care about the race or the
Find
sex,
the right
whatever,
actor for the part.
in which they did. So
Yeah.
I definitely am looking forward to Mordo coming back and trying to take down Doctor Strange.
Okay. Nzo, 3 minutes on the board. Go ahead.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Doctor Strange 2, like where they're going with it. But the way it ended, the first one, I would definitely think he's gonna come back and he's gonna go after Doctor Strange. Does he team up with Dormammu? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna do him in that series because it looks like they're going to the multiverse and stuff like that. I think it's gonna have a lot to do with WandaVision. So I think WandaVision's probably gonna be the main villain in that one, even though she's good. But I think they're gonna um, find like maybe a bad Wanda from another multiverse or something like that and have to deal with that. I don't know what they're gonna do with Wanda, but all signs show that WandaVision is going to connect into Doctor Strange 2. She's also supposed to be in Doctor Strange 2. So that's going to be an issue. Mordo might be in it as well. I don't know if he is confirmed to be in it or not. And if he is in it, how big is his role going to be? I think maybe they might save him for the third one if that's the case. And then maybe he'll team up with Dormammu in the third one. But at the same time, I do think that this one is strictly going to have to come fix. I wouldn't say fix, but kind of, because a lot of people didn't like what they did with Avengers Endgames with the time travel. So I do think that this is going to have to deal with the multiverse. We're going to have to know about the Loki because Loki is in a different universe now. Captain America's in a different universe, right? Multiverse or whatever you want to call it.
Well,
so
right now,
I think that
different time they may show that instead of thinking of it as time, it's actually like you said, universe.
A different universe. Yeah, exactly. Because it has to be, because if you go with what the ancient one said, you know, when she said you take out a stone, it branches off into a new timeline. Loki ends up getting away with the Tesseract at the end of Endgame. So that doesn't change. It branches off. That branches off into a new timeline. So Captain America staying with Peggy branched off to a new timeline. So Doctor Strange is going to have to handle that. So I believe that's what Doctor Strange 2 is mainly going to focus on. And Wanda is going to have something to do with it some way or how. But as for Mordo and Dormammu, I don't know where they fit into that. I really don't. I mean, maybe they could be the villain that Wanda and Doctor Strange have to team up with towards the end to fight. I could see that, but I think at the beginning of it, or at least the first half of the movie, he's going to have to deal with whatever happens after Endgame. So that's my opinion.
Okay. Hold on, I'm writing down something I want to bring up when we talk for 3 minutes. Do that. You just mentioned something that reminded me that I have a question about something that you just said. 3 minutes on the board for me. If they follow the comics, yeah, that's going to happen. The comics, very much, it's a similar thing. Is that Mordo that just doesn't like or doesn't get why or how the Ancient One did what she did. And I'm with Danny. There's not really something that it's not that egregious, but he feels he is, in a sense, a chosen person who follows the complete map of how to do this. You can't, not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do this. He does all of that. And then when he turns and looks at it, he's like, well, but she or he, the Ancient One, they cheated death. And then the person who is over here that I even helped bring in and I helped train, Doctor Strange, now he's the big guy. It's like, what about me? Why am I've done everything I was supposed to do and now I get nothing for it?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and he leaves and he does it in the comic books, kind of like how they do at the end of the movie. And yeah, he does come back and he does try to do that type of thing. So I think eventually he will. I'm with Onzo. I'd much rather wait for that story till third Doctor Strange. Let's forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let us think, oh, maybe they're going to do that, and then show, no, don't even bring either of them into this one, which I'm not sure if they'll leave Mordo out completely. But if you leave him out, you don't talk about him, you don't do anything with him, and you don't do anything with Dormammu or anything like that, you very well could make it so people just think, okay, well, they didn't do it, so they're not going to do it. And then the third one, you come around, and then, boom, here you go. So, yeah, I think that this one's going to definitely deal with more explaining what happened in Endgame with what we're calling time travel right now, because that's what they called it. I think what they might try to show is well, while they thought it was time travel, what they actually did was open a dimensional transfer where they were able to jump to another dimension where they were able to get those things. And what they did, and at the end of Endgame, what you saw was two different dimensions crossing into each other, because Thanos coming from that dimension into this dimension, So what they did is they went back to where those dimensions were together before they splintered. And I think that's how they'll try to explain it. But I think it's going to really dive into the idea of what a multiverse is, which could be done well or could be done horribly. So it's a question mark on it. And I know that they wanted to put kind of a twist on it to be kind of a horror film. Okay, so 3 minutes on the board. My question here that I just thought of is when you said it, I was like, yeah, you know what? What always bugged me about this, what always bugged with me bringing in time travel, when Cap goes back to take the stones back and then stays with Peggy. The crazy thing here is that if you think about it, if he goes back and he lives as long as he does till he shows up on that bench, the snap doesn't happen. Does Infinity War happen? Does the snap happen? No. So he ends up in the same place, even though he's changed everything about time. Because remember, he wasn't found until years later, frozen with the Tesseract. So there's this whole thing that they're forgetting, that if he's there, that's the same Cap, then all of that stuff didn't happen, which means everybody's still alive. There's so many problems in that alone, which is why I think they're going to really explore what really happened and how some of this is allowed. How is he able to go back and do something different in this timeline, but still end up at the end in this same timeline? Because theoretically, he goes back. Technically, he should never have been there again.
Well, that's why they have to say it branches off, right? Because when he goes back into time, and there's still a Captain America in that time period that he's in, So he ends up just living his life in secret with Peggy Carter while the original Cap goes off and still handles Thanos and everything like that. So it is possible, but it's just, it changes a lot from the timeline. It changes a lot. That's why they couldn't do the Back to the Future way of doing it. You know what I mean? Because if they had done it that way, going back in time and taking the Infinity Stones before Thanos even gets them changes everything we've seen for the first 22 movies.
Well, okay, so oh shoot, I had to type right here. Okay, so yeah, here's the problem though. He goes back, and you're saying basically when he goes back and he lives his life in quiet with her, that that change doesn't change anything because everything else still goes on. Problem is that Peggy Carter is going to know that that's Cap. Some other people are going to be around that knows that Cap's out there. It just seems really strange to act like he ends up in the same spot, because if going back and staying with her splinters it off, unless somehow that timeline coincides and doesn't split off anymore, he shouldn't be there. So what they're saying is him going back and living that life absolutely changes nothing, doesn't splinter off a thing. And I guess the way the Ancient One explains it, yes, by taking the stones back to where they were, fixes those splinters. But him going back and staying would be another splinter.
It creates a splinter. Just so like Loki getting the Tesseract.
How does that splinter go off the timeline this way, yet at some point up here when it's splintered off, comes back and says, nope, boom, I'm going to bring him right back to the end of this? Because that's the thing I know why they brought him back for the film was, is to show that he got what he wanted, that he went back and he actually lived the life he chose. But by him not coming back, you can explore that at another time. Where'd he go? Why isn't he here? And it leaves something for another day to explore, but they decided not to. Probably because if they had just he disappeared, so
I think they just expected people to say, okay, well, yeah, he created a new timeline, but somehow he reached back into the timeline that he was in, so be it, But at the same time, you're right. Like, the minute he went back in time, he changes it. There's a splinter, so he shouldn't have been able to come back at that bench with Bucky and Sam.
Yeah, and there's an easy way to explain it too within the film itself. As soon as he's going back, and I don't know I can't remember if they say this to him. They're like, "Well, you do realize that you may never see us again, because once you go back, something could change."
And then how did he get on there without any of them seeing him?
That's another thing, because it's like they're there, they're trying. Well, they're waiting for him to come back, so they're paying attention to the monitors and stuff like that.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
it's kind of like he materializes, which is another thing that I guess you could bring up the multiverse. Maybe you can show.
They should have showed him. Somebody said, "Who's that?" And it should be somebody walking across the field, or pulling up in the car.
Unless, again, with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, if you show that perhaps someplace in there, you show him coming across Cap, who's decided to stay, and then he says, "Well, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to be going back?" And he says, "No, I chose to stay here." And he says, "Well, don't you think you should tell everybody else?" And he's like, "Well, I probably should." And then somehow something that Doctor Strange does opens up a portal right to that spot where he's sitting. Again, there's easy way. It's right your own ending. I mean, they can do whatever they want, and it may be fast and loose. It may not come across quite as well as it should, but theoreticically, it's like Now, the thing is that with Doctor Strange, the big thing you have to remember about Dormammu is that he used the Time Stone to drive Dormammu to brink of that agreement. He doesn't have that anymore. Well, actually, does he have that anymore?
He has.
You return it back to the point.
Turn everything back. So he has it now. In this future, he has it.
That's right. See, and I had to remember that. Yeah, so he would, because it would have gone to him because the monks and everybody had it there. So yeah, okay, all right. So I don't know. I mean, it could be interesting what we see, but yeah. So anything else you guys want to talk about?
Trying to think.
I try to think all the time. It hurts. I try not to.
Talk about blank, man. Since Danny brought it up earlier. I mean, he did bring it up. You know, he said,
"Keep on going."
I gave you a compliment. Now this how you want to do it. Now this what you want to do.
Your compliment was kind of double-ended though, because you said you said blank man and stuff. You know, I'm surprised you didn't say the Spurs in that too as well.
You guys have some really deep-seated hatred for each other in some really interesting ways.
I'm all about numbers. Also ain't about numbers. He about his love for his team, which I understand.
Yeah, and then you want to bring up these numbers about 2 people more than Ben.
I didn't say about 2 people. You said 2 people.
You said he won. You said
I kept the poll up for a week, and I said the people have vote. That's what I said.
And I said like 2 people.
Then I use an example. If you win a game by 1 point, you are considered what? The winner.
Game and a poll are 2 different things, though.
The winner. That's an example. That's an example.
I know it's an example, but I'm just saying.
By 1 vote or 2 votes, you're still the president of the United States.
Right, but that don't matter though, because I could put up a poll and it could be totally different than what you did. Right, so it's a poll. That's what I'm saying.
I put it up. 20, anything to do with it. We let the people vote.
I am just saying. That's all.
Oh my God. Let me ask you this.
I will not go off of that.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Mm-hmm. If you had a chance and you on an NBA team,
oh God, here we go.
And these people are in their primes, and you got first choice, would you choose Michael Jordan or Tim Duncan?
Jordan.
Okay.
Here's
what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, this is not. Wait. This is not square one, Danny.
No. But I understand the question, but then again, you have to remember that Jordan was great, but there were a lot of players around him that accentuated his greatness because they were there. And
I ain't trying to get into no deep philosophical. I'm just saying, if you first choice,
Jordan, of course.
That's all I'm saying.
Jordan. And I said my first choice would be Tim Duncan. And Danny's like, well, Jordan is better than Tim Duncan. I'm like, I don't care, because Tim Duncan still has 5 championships. So regardless of anything, I'm still winning. Doesn't matter if I take Jordan or if I take Duncan, I'm still winning championships. So
if Duncan was on any other team than the Spurs, would you say that?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, if he was on any other team, maybe not. He wouldn't be my favorite. He wouldn't be my favorite. He wouldn't be my favorite. He wouldn't be my favorite player if he was on a different team.
I wish I thought that question yesterday.
That is my point right there.
He wouldn't have been my favorite player, but he's my favorite player. And if he was on a different team, if I take the teams out of the equation, yeah, probably would have. I still pick Duncan. Fuck that. You're not trying to trick me into saying something I don't want to say.
You heard him, Danny. You heard him. He was going to say it.
It's not happening. You're not tricking me into saying something I don't want to say.
I'm just pointing out a simple, straight point. Oh, yeah. Well, guys, we've gone just about an hour. That's about what we normally set for. I'll make sure I get this thing all scheduled out and promoted better next time, because doing it just hours before we go on is never a great thing. But why don't you guys tell everybody about yourselves one more time? Tell them what you're up to here in just a couple hours, and go ahead, Danny.
I am Danny. Comment Chat is the channel. I do my platform off of YouTube. I have several shows throughout the week. Tomorrow night, please catch us with the Chaotic Conversation at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time We will be listing our top 5 favorite Michael Jackson songs and Prince songs. Tuesday, you can catch Nzo down below, and he can tell you what's going on there on the chaos list. Today, right now, of course, every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do the Rule of Three, starring the 3 guys you see here, myself, Chris, and Nzo. Yesterday, we did Square One, involving me, Nzo, Roberto, and we had a guest on there. We're going to try to have a guest on each week. In about 1 hour, please catch us for our 3-hour show called Equilibrium, starring me, Nzo, Terrence, and John, where we would mainly be discussing, episode 9 of Stargirl and any other topics that come across. We'll be answering questions from the chat, so please join us. We appreciate it, and see you in an hour.
Absolutely. So, Anzo, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, where they can find you, what you're up to.
Yes, sir. As you can see in the icon, my channel is Biggaford Entertainment. You can catch me every Sunday at 3 o'clock on the Rule of Three with these 2 gentlemen up here. You know, great conversation. Tomorrow night.
Wait. Danny, did you hear the hesitation when you said gentlemen?
Let me see.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm
go ahead.
I'm the gentleman one, and you guys are just, you know, I'm the star of the show. I get it, you know what I mean? But I gotta be humble. I gotta be humble, you know what I mean? So I gotta give respect. Respect is due. My co-hosts are pretty decent, you know. They're okay. But yeah, like I said, Sundays 3 o'clock, Rule of Three. 5 o'clock, it's gonna be Equilibrium. Tomorrow night, it's gonna be Danny's Chaotic Conversation, and I can't wait to get to the topics. I really can't wait to give up my 5 Prince and 5 Michael Jackson songs. Sorry. And then on Tuesday, we got the Chaotic List, my channel. I have 3 topics where we'll discuss. Don't know the topics yet, but I'll worry about that tonight. Always on with Rob every night, you know. Check us out, Storms Live. Great conversation there.
At about 10:30.
We'll definitely be there tonight. And me and Mr. Mendizo, Mr. Roberto, have a show called Off Our Chest, where we talk about like serious topics, you know, try to get people to realize that they're not alone in the situations that they go to. Got Square One sports show, you know, so got a lot of things going on. I'm at actually 98 subscribers now, so I just need 2 more to get to 100. So please subscribe to the channel.
If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go over there now and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate it, and thanks you guys for everything.
Well, yeah, so like you heard, two away, get them up to 100. Make sure you go over there. Please go back over to Chaos Central on YouTube. Just look it up in the search bar. Please check that out. See if you are subscribed. If you are not, please go subscribe. And subscribe to Danny, subscribe to Nzo, subscribe here. Trying to get up to 3,000 subscribers. Danny, how you doing on your time? Are you close?
Last time I checked, I was 345. 345 hours away.
So do us a favor, guys. Go over to Danny Graham's channel, Comic Chat, and make sure that you click on the playlist that says "This Is It." That's got a lot of his videos on it. And do us a favor, watch some of those videos. Go ahead, watch them. But also just kind of leave a tab open and leave him running to help him get up to his 4,000 watch hours. He's really, really close. He's got the people. He's got the subscribers. We just need to get his watch hours up so he can get monetized. That always helps with a lot of different things. So, guys, please help out with that. I appreciate all of you guys who were here today. And with that said, guys, everybody say bye.
Peace.
Later.